Hello everyone, this is Miss Krupstad doing a quick video on what we call mystery boxes at Edina High School. This is the very last step to factoring, which is a process you're going to be learning very, very soon. So the first thing you're going to notice when you get a mystery box is that you know all of the stuff on the inside. In the past, we knew the terms on the outside and we multiplied those to get the inside. Well, now we know the inside and we're going to try to find the outside. So we're going to have to do some backwards thinking where we're going to be thinking about what times what would give me this x squared term, this term in this upper left-hand box. Well, the only things that could go here would be x and x. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, what about 1 times x squared? Because technically that also gives us x squared. But when I go and I look at this next box, right, these two have to multiply to give me negative 4x. X squared is too big. We can't have an x squared there. So almost every single problem you do in intermediate algebra will usually have x's in those top and leftmost outside spots. Once we get that kind of figured out, and don't be afraid to erase and try again, but once we get that figured out, we can continue going around the box. So like I was pointing to before, that times this has to give me negative 4x. Well, I've already have the x, so this up here must be a negative 4. Then when I go to this bottom box here, my x times whatever ends up being in that open spot has to give me 3x. Well, I already have the x, so I need a positive 3. And then I can use this last box to check where I know that negative 4 times 3 has to give me negative 12, and it checks out just fine. What we just did is we took something that was in expanded form and we turned it into factored form. The expanded form is the inside of the box. It's what we were doing last unit where we're adding all of our terms together. So our expanded form here is x squared. I can combine the negative 4x and the 3x to get negative 1x or just negative x and minus 12. That is the polynomial I will get if I multiply together the outside of the box, the dimensions of my rectangle, and that is our factored form. So x minus 4 times x plus 3, which is the outside of the box, gives us the inside. So the other thing I want to mention is it does not matter the order in which you write your factored form. You could flip them around if you would like to, and it gives you the same answer. So today we're going from the inside to the outside of the box. Let's try a couple more examples. All right, so in this first one, I have 5x squared, 10x, negative 4x, and negative 8. So if I was writing the expanded form, I could do that right now because I already have all of the inside of the box. But what we're really trying to figure out in this problem is the outside of the box. So let's start thinking backwards. So what times what would give me 5x squared? Well, I know x times x gives me that x squared, and now I have to figure out where I'm going or how I'm going to get that 5. If I put a 5 at the top and a 1 on the side, that gives me 5x squared. As I continue solving this box though, when I look down in this box, 5x times what would give me negative 4x? Well, it's hard to multiply a 5 to get a negative 4 without using a fraction or a decimal. And I promise you, you will never have to use fractions or decimals in order to solve these boxes. So right now, this isn't going to work out. So other options to give me a 5x squared. Well, I could put the 5 on the side and the 1 on the top. This still gives me 5x squared. Now let's see if this works out a little bit better with the 5. So if I had 5x times this number giving me 10, well, 5 times 2 gives me 10, and then I have that x. So that takes care of that. So far, so good. Then let's just check this bottom box. 1x times what will give me negative 4x? Well, I need a negative 4 there to give me that negative 4x. And now checking the last box, negative 4 times 2 would give me negative 8. So I have solved this box. So my expanded form is the inside. The outside is my factored form. So 1x plus 2 and 5x minus 4. Last problem we'll look at over here on the side. This one's a little bit trickier, even though you might think, oh, the numbers are smaller. But when we start looking at this, you'll see some interesting things happen. All right, so 4x squared, x times x. We definitely need that. Now, when I'm thinking about 4, there's a couple different combinations that can give me 4. I could use 4 and 1. I could flip-flop those spots, or I could also use 2 and 2. So let's start with 4 and 1. When I do 4x times what to give me 6x, that's not going to be an easy answer unless I use fractions and decimals. So let's try reversing it and put the 4 on top. Let's check that 4 out again. Now I would do 4x times what to give me -2. And again, that's not going to work out so well. So I don't think we're going to be using 4 and 1. So let's try 2 and 2. Let's check our boxes. 2x times what will give me 6x, and that would be a +3. And then with this other 2x at the top, 2x times what will give me -2, and that would be a -1. And then we can at last check our last numerical box there, where I have 3 times -1, which gives me -3. So we have solved the box. Our expanded form is the inside of the box. So I would be adding all of these pieces together. 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. And then my factored form would be the outside of the box. I should change my colors. So 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 1. All right, so again, that's going to apply to when we start factoring pretty soon. So get good at these and it will make factoring way easier.